We do want to head to some breaking news now out of Ottawa. CBC News has confirmed that Transport Minister Chrystia Freeland is leaving the Liberal cabinet to take on the role of international envoy for Ukraine. The CBC's Janice McGregor is on this story for us. She joins us now from Ottawa. There had been reports of this. Certainly she has been in multiple different roles in terms of cabinet, now taking on a brand new one. Let's talk about this move.
Yeah, this is part of a bigger picture thing that we've been watching. Some suggestion that some veteran ministers may be about to be posted, take up key international roles. There have been a lot of rumors playing out, things festering into fact as we go, but certainly the fate of Chrystia Freeland, an absolutely big one. Stuff starting on social media, this reported by the Globe and Mail just last hour. Sources now telling CBC News, as you just said, that Chrystia Freeland will be leaving Mark Carney's cabinet, and that the roles she will be taking up is some kind of an envoy position. We don't know a lot of details about this yet, but it is going to be related to Ukraine. And we're watching to see if the official announcement of this could come as early as this afternoon. Now, we have been watching cabinet this morning. I can tell you that Chrystia Freeland is in Ottawa. There you see her. She is walking into cabinet. Of course, she has been the transport minister for Mark Carney, also serving as the minister responsible for internal trade. We are trying to solidify exactly what will happen to the two roles that she has been taking on previously. We know Dominic LeBlanc obviously has taken a lead role on internal trade issues, liaising with the premiers in the past, working to break down those barriers and also lead the trade file with Washington. So certainly that has been a responsibility that she has shared with him to date. What happens to the transport portfolio? You saw her there with Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon. Obviously, he an important leader in terms of navigating the way forward in a minority parliament, but he is one who has proven himself capable, for example, on labor files related to labor disputes affecting the transport sector to this point. So we're watching to see exactly what happens to her portfolios. This would be the first of sort of a number of kind of moves adjusting Mark Carney's cabinet, moving pieces around, and goes without saying, what would happen to the riding that she represents if this is indeed a stepping back from federal politics altogether. We know that Chrystia Freeland currently serves in one of, I think fair to say, the safest Liberal seats in the country in downtown Toronto. That is an opportunity if there is someone else who is a loyalist to the Prime Minister, a key person he wants on his team. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too far down the chessboard here, but goes without saying that would be a very significant development.
And, Janice, for a moment, I know this is breaking news, but certainly I know that this is expertise that you also have, and that is the significance of Chrystia Freeland in the events of the past several years, because, of course, she played the role of Deputy Prime Minister, Foreign Affairs Minister during the renegotiation of NAFTA, Finance Minister. I believe she was the first female to hold that role, and her departure from the Trudeau cabinet led to a series of very dramatic events. And then, of course, her entrance into the leadership race for Liberal Party leader, where she did not fare all that well, but then was entered into Mark Carney's cabinet after he was sworn in as Prime Minister. Can we just talk about the significance of Chrystia Freeland's role through the past several years?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, of course, she was his rival in that Liberal leadership race, notwithstanding the fact that he won by a huge margin. The pair have close personal relationships as well, dating back years. I think everyone understands by now that Mark Carney, the godson to Chrystia Freeland's godfather, rather, to Chrystia Freeland's son. These are two people whose public lives have been very interestingly intertwined at several points, and then found themselves in this situation as far as their political careers are concerned. I think you cannot overstate really how important Chrystia Freeland was to Justin Trudeau's premiership, the key things he did internationally, the extent to which she kind of built and gained more seniority over time in the various roles that she held in his cabinet, started with international trade, moved on to foreign affairs, but retained trade responsibilities. You referenced the key role she played in actually landing the plane on those NATO talks. When Bill Morneau faltered, stepping into finance then, but continuing to play a role internationally for Canada. Some of us sometimes joke that, Chrystia Freeland never really gave up many of her jobs. She just added more onto her plate. Similarly, if we are talking about her future and an international role in the future vis-a-vis Ukraine, people who know her political backstory know that this is a personal file for her, that she is of Ukrainian descent, that as a journalist she was posted in Russia. She speaks Ukrainian. To say that the war in Ukraine is very personal for her and something about which she is passionate, again, an understatement, a close personal relationship, first name basis with President Zelensky. We have seen that personal closeness over the years. And so not a surprise, perhaps, that her next passion, her next cause would be related to the war in Ukraine. And I think if the control room has some pictures here, I want to show you. Over the weekend, just over this past weekend, and maybe this was a hint for all of us as to where this story was going, Ms. Freeland was in Kyiv. These are shots from the Facebook feed of Canada's ambassador, Natalka Simuk, on the ground in Ukraine. Freeland was there with former Prime Minister Jean Chrétien, doing some outreach meeting with officials, strengthening ties, talking about his relationship with Ukraine during his time. Freeland right there by his side. We don't know what other meetings she took while she was there. No surprise to see her very active on the Ukraine file. She has been throughout, notwithstanding the fact that she was transport minister. She never really gave up the advocacy work and the outreach work she continued to do on that file. If you follow her on social media, if you have a chance to talk to her, you know that this was a 24/7 kind of cause for her. So this would be her new job, very much consistent with who she is, with what she cares about, with her relationships around the world that she perhaps could leverage to sort of keep those relationships strong. And I know, we don't need to tell our CBC audience the so-called people-to-people ties between Canada and Ukraine, the number of Ukrainians who have come here, who have roots in Ukraine, even if their family's been here for a number of generations. So Chrystia Freeland, one of them, now taking on a very personal cause, it appears. And again, official announcement has not happened yet. We are still working to learn more about exactly how this role will be defined and what will happen to the senior role that she has played, the files that she has held in Mark Carney's cabinet. All of this yet to unfold through the day. But this is what sources have told CBC News for now. And stay tuned, because this is going to be a huge departure from the scene in Ottawa. Although, given the nature of her work, not really leaving, just kind of pivoting to what I think would be a passion project full time.
Okay, Janice, thanks for this. As Janice mentioned, a lot more to come on this story. We will continue to track it. Thank you, Janice. Janice McGregor reporting from Ottawa.